Welcome to your doom.
Start it off.
Sure. I forgot how we start this show.
Well, it has been a
while.
while.
It's been a while.
What's up, folks? This is Justin.
This is Atul.
And this is an episode of the Welcome to Your Doom show, the first one of 2019. I forgot the episode numbers because it's been a while.
That's right. It has been a while. And what the hell have we been doing, Justin?
I've been buried under work. Literally buried under work the last 2 days.
Snow.
And snow. Fuck. The last 2 days in Toronto, I have not seen this much snow in the amount of time that it happened is my recent memory.
Yeah,
since
that's
I've been
true.
back from, being in US.
That's right. Yeah. Same here. I mean, it was like righteously cold too. It was like minus 34 with the wind chill. It was like, it felt a little bit. It was colder in the Yukon when Shuggo and I went in February, but like that's what it felt like. My legs were getting cold.
Yeah.
And they typically don't get cold. I don't own any long johns or anything, but I was out there and I thought I was gonna die. I was coming home, and my leg like locked up in the snow. So it's this barren wasteland. There's snow blowing everywhere. My beard is freezing. Now my leg locks up because I got a Charlie horse and I can't move. And I literally thought, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to find my fucking... The wolves are going to be picking the meat off of my bones out here.
This is how I die.
Yeah. So then I start trying to walk with keeping my leg straight. So if you can imagine... You're keeping one leg straight and the other leg can bend, and there's like snow up to my like just below my knees here because nothing's plowed at this point. So I look like an Arctic pirate, like walking through the snow. It was ridiculous. Anyway, it's been a trial. It's been kind of fun. I think it's gonna warm up in the next few days, so we'll be out of it shortly. But we had a pretty rockin' holiday. It was good. It was a good time in late December. There we had our LAN party.
Yeah.
Game of the LAN party was
Killing Floor, probably.
Killing Floor 2. Basically,
still remains to be. I play that a lot.
Yeah, I'm in there as well, and so that was really great. That turned out to be a great hit. And yeah, we've been doing the Drinking with Skeletons show, and that took up some time. So yeah, it's been a little while since we've gotten back into it.
But now we're here.
Here we are. And what's the topic for today?
Well, I was watching a film that I got for Christmas, and I realized it's one of my favorite animated films, and I thought that it would be a great episode to discuss animated films. One of, basically our favorite animated films, ones that we return to and are our favorites for whatever reasons. Not the best, because I've definitely got a few up there that I would consider guilty pleasures. There's better films out there by far.
Yeah. I think there's a distinct difference between what we actually... And we got into this argument a little bit about the Oscars, and we won't bring it up here with my cousin on the group chat there. And that was like hundreds of essay format messages going back and forth. But there is a distinction between what someone thinks is the best or a good movie versus a movie that people like or is their favorite.
Right.
There's definitely a distinction there. You can think a movie is great and it's your favorite, but you can also understand that it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
You can So I think that there's some subtlety there. So this is our favorite animated movies.
Right.
Not necessarily the movies we think are the best. That
That's
might be
right.
a different list. So,
and I think my goal here too is for the people that don't watch animated films because they think they're for kids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That try and put forward a few that are good for everybody.
you want to jump right into it?
Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are our favorite animated movies. I've got no line for this.
I know. I was just like,
jump in.
there's no line for this.
I just want you to play the music. Did you want to start?
I'll start. Yeah. So we're not really going in any particular order. I kind of wanted to start with my favorite first.
Do it.
So, but then after that, the rest of them kind of don't. The film or the animated film that I'd watched probably the most in my adult life, probably more than any other film that I've ever watched, Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
All right. I knew that was going to be on there.
Yeah, I figured I'd get it out of the way fast.
Yeah.
Honestly, many people kind of regard it as the best interpretation of the Batman character on film. in both live action and animated. And I tend to agree. It captures kind of the essence of the character probably better than anything else. What the character, I think you could say, was meant to be, or how he evolved over time to become, his mythos in the comic books now. And the visual style's great. Basically, think of the Bruce Timm animated series and dial it up to 11.
Yeah, the quality of animation in that movie is basically the show, but with more money.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
more frames,
absolutely.
more frames per second.
It doesn't.
It's got a great opening.
It has an amazing opening.
Yeah, the credit sequence is really, really nice. I like that. I remember this like through the buildings, right? Like the buildings coming. And it's a really. I remember when I first saw that movie. And I never saw it in the theater. I saw it I bought it on home video. Yeah. And I played it, and the first time I saw the credits and the buildings passing by and their distinct version of Gotham.
Yes.
I remember thinking to myself, this is different. Like, this is the big time. I remember thinking to myself in my head, I'm like, there's more. I mean, I didn't know what the words were, but essentially its production value has gone up, and it really sets the tone with that credit sequence.
Right, exactly. And you get kind of a really neat back and forth of present day time and then the flashbacks, and then you have intermingling of the different characters. The voice acting, as always, with the Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill's superb, but you also have, I can't remember the actress's name. She was in Tombstone. She was the female lead in Tombstone. I can't remember her name. That played Andrea Beaumont, but she was great.
Female lead in Tombstone.
Yeah, she's the one.
The actress.
Yeah, the actress.
Oh,
she's the one that voices
I can't remember her name. I didn't even realize that.
Delaney.
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I mean, that
something
name sounds
something
right.
Delaney.
I didn't know that. That's an interesting piece of trivia.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyways, this film I watched more than anything because I had the VHS of it, and when I was growing up, I had that in my room, and I would play it literally every night. It would actually put me to sleep. That was like my sleepy time.
So that was your bedtime.
Yeah, it was my bedtime thing. I'd
story.
put it on, but dude, it would literally go on into my teens, and even now, if I can't sleep, I'll just throw it on and fall asleep.
That is funny.
So it's like comfort food for me. But it's, like I said, it is probably, in my opinion, the best interpretation of the Batman character. Still looks fantastic. Mm-hmm. What's another interesting thing about it was, and I think they did this for the TV show as well, but they would draw everything on black paper.
Yeah, black paper. Yeah, so I think that was the whole thing with the whole series.
The whole series they did that.
Yeah. Sorry, were you?
That's it. Yeah.
The one thing, two things I wanted to mention was, the first scene in that movie sticks out in my mind because I've always been a big fan of horror stuff when I was when I was little.
That's a good point.
So the Phantasm, the way she's presented. I don't want to ruin the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the movie's 30 years old now, so yeah,
deal with it.
Yeah, the way she's presented is very much like a specter, like a figure of death.
Yes,
and the way she offs a lot of gangsters. Yes. In the movie, and they're pretty grotesque, the way they go out, and it was kind of scary, and it set that bar to that thriller level. We're at a level of storytelling in here that really did speak to me because that was oh my god, so I got my horror and the Batman all mixed up together, and it was so it really did make a mark. But the one thing I take away for it, which is why it's not really on my list, is I love the character analysis of Bruce Wayne and the jumping back and forth in time. But I remember whenever I watch it, not whenever, now I can discern the difference. But when I watched it the first few times, I could never tell. I forgot I was watching a flashback. The flashbacks are so long in that movie, and I always found that confusing. Yeah. Especially when I first watched it as a kid. I was like, what's going on? And then it flashes back, and I'm like, oh, that was all a flashback, and it was a 30-minute flashback. I don't know, it's probably too long. Yeah, but I remember them being very long.
They are.
That was the only thing that kind of confused me when I was younger. So
yeah, the opening one is definitely one of the longer ones. Yeah, that's true. But if you can't tell the difference between a flashback and not, I can't really help you. You fucking idiot.
Aren't all flashbacks in sepia tone?
Yeah, they are actually.
Come on, let's throw an Instagram filter on it.
Hashtag
no
Ludwig.
No. God. if we're gonna start with like really top favorites, there's really one film that stands out from me, and it's absolutely The Iron Giant.
Yep, that was my next one.
Yeah, The Iron Giant is a movie that spoke to me on like every level of my being, basically. I'm always been a big fan of like the coming of age stories, but when I was coming of age, to watch a story about a kid coming of age was basically the sweet spot, right? Because you're kind of experiencing that yourself.
It's a coming of it's not a coming of age story. What are you on about?
Iron Giant?
No.
Yeah, the kid's
No.
Yeah, that's what the kid. He's not getting older in the movie, but when you have that relationship between a child and like another being, like E.T. is a coming of age story, and The Stand is a coming of age story, and Iron Giant, and like, you know, there's a couple of other movies that are like that.
Can you come of age within a day? Because the time period of this movie was a day.
Yeah, no, it's more than that. It's more than it's more than it's like a week.
It's not a week.
Yeah, because the guy moves in, he sleeps at the house for a few days.
True.
Yeah, it's like a week. But the idea is that the kid basically his innocence is being taken away from him. Like, this is the period of his life where he realizes how the world really works and all of that.
True.
So all of those things kind of happen. But the animation is like fantastic.
Yes.
It's Vin Diesel's best role he's ever taken on as the voice of the Giant, and there's a real sweet nostalgia, and the voice acting is really, really great.
Yes.
I think Harry Connick Jr. does the voice of Dean, and he's fucking hilarious in that movie.
Yeah.
He still makes me laugh whenever I watch it, and it's one of the movies, the ending, where it makes me fucking cry. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I can't watch it because it's just too much. It's too much. It's too much for me. Where he's like, the kid tells the Giant, "You can be what you want to be," and he says Superman, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't. I just can't. Pull yourself together, man.
Okay.
I can't.
Now I need to speak on this.
Yeah.
This was the movie that I was watching yesterday. The Blu-ray's right over there.
Oh.
That's the one I was talking about that made me
Oh,
want to do
you're
this
watching
topic.
Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now,
okay.
on top of that, I was ugly crying at that point. Because I'm in the same boat. I cannot watch the last 5 minutes of the movie without fucking crying. And I'm not like saying like a tear, like I'm sobbing. I'm not, dude, it's exactly that. So I actually had the opportunity. They were playing this at TIFF. They were playing the
extended directors.
Yeah, yeah.
They added a few scenes.
They added a couple scenes.
Yeah.
And they were playing that at TIFF in the theater. So me and Nish went. Right? And we're going, and the whole time, as soon as the ending's coming, I'm like, oh,
hold it in.
And it was not being held in.
Suck that tear back
but
in
like,
your eyes.
I managed to be like, I don't know. It's like covering my face so she can't see me. Because I'm like, no, she can't see this.
Oh, man. Shogun knows.
Brave face on. No, I legit cry every time when I watch this.
I can't stop it. It's extremely well written, and the color palette on the movie, it's like it's fall transitioning to winter, so it's also like I love that time of year, so it speaks to me on all of these levels. And yeah, because they have like the fall palette, and then the end of the movie it's snowing, and it's kind of like it's transitioning to winter, so it's like it's a phenomenal movie. If you guys haven't seen it yet,
it's
absolutely go and see it. I really think it's if somebody were to say top 5 movies of all time for me, like favorite movies, that's in the top 5, in the mix, maybe in the top 3. Like
really?
That, yeah, that's a really it's really up there for me. Not just animated movies, but
of all time,
all kinds of movies,
right?
All of the movies.
The other thing too I wanted to mention is Kent Mansley.
Oh, Kent Mansley.
Kent Mansley. The best villain name. I think it's Kent Mansley.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is Kent Mansley.
He is the best villain name. And I love his so you're watching what's the boy's name? Hogarth.
Yeah.
You're seeing Hogarth kind of, like you said, come of age. He's growing as a character.
Yeah.
Whereas Mansley is regressing into like this animal.
Yeah,
like,
you're right. He shows up very composed.
Yeah, and then he's just getting more and more frightened and scared as it goes out to the point where he just almost bombs everybody, including himself. And then he tries to get away and is stopped by the Giant in the best way possible. He's just kind of like he's looking over him after he stops the Jeep, and it's kind of a look of like disappointment and like, fuck you. Like, it was so good.
It's a definite fuck you look.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're right. Kent Mansley. And he's voiced by a shooter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what his
I don't know
name is.
either. I never remember the name off the top of my head.
I feel bad for that guy because I think probably a lot of people are like, hey, shooter, and nobody knows his name.
Yeah. That being said, he's a guy I'd want to have a drink with. He seems like a dude that...
I saw him. He was at a premiere in New York, and he was at the Union Square Theater, and I was walking, and I saw him. I'm like, oh, it's Shooter. And I have no idea what his fuck... And I saw him and Tony Danza. They were at this premiere, and I was like, it's Shooter McGavin, and
fucking the boss.
And the boss. So, yeah. No, it's a good one. You guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
All right, so I got a next one. The next one I wanted to bring up is definitely... I don't know if you're going to consider it an animated film, but I have arguments.
I already have this one on the list.
What is it?
Who Framed Roger
Motherfucker.
Rabbit. Yeah.
That's
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I almost want to disqualify because it is a half and half.
Now, I will argue that it is not half and half.
There's more animation in it than live action? Is that
No.
Oh.
What I'm saying is that all of the live action in it is more cartoony than the cartoons.
Bob Hoskins is... I haven't seen any other movie where he's done this. Somehow he becomes mega physical, in this movie. And he hasn't done it in any other movie I've ever seen. A great actor, but this movie was just like, out of nowhere, he ends up being this really physical, like actor. And he's bouncing around and doing, like, backflips and...
So not even just Bob Hoskins, because yes, he does put in a very animated performance. Obviously, Christopher Lloyd does as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm talking everybody. Everybody down to like at the crime scene when they're going through the stuff, like the cops or the detectives probably that are there are going through stuff and they're like, look at this. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, guys.
It's mixing like this like 50s sort of LA noir vibe.
Yes, yeah.
And I think they purposefully like played that up big time.
Absolutely.
To match sort of the
tone and everything.
Yeah.
But the really cool thing about this film is that obviously they're overlaying, the animated characters on top of the frames and whatnot. But what's really neat, like my favorite part of the film is all the practical effects that they have with the characters interacting with the live action
in camera.
characters. Like I remember, I can't remember who I was showing this to, but somebody was asking kind of about how like CG works in films. And obviously when you're looking at like really high quality CG, you're just it's kind of hard to discern what's like real versus practical, and you're just you're putting things in the frame, whatever. But with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you can actually show them, be like, well, what's happening behind the scenes here is there's actually something in the sink that's popping the water
Yes,
up,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're just overlaying something on top.
Yeah.
So it was really neat, especially the year that it was made, that you could actually see that. And then, I mean, all the animated characters looked really good. They
phenomenal looking movie.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
And the interaction, like, it's hard for an actor to be able to interact. Like, you look at, like, Space Jam, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. Granted, Michael Jordan's not exactly an actor's actor.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's the most accomplished thespian.
Right. But even still, like, you look at, like, Bill Murray that was in that working with them, or Newman, I can't remember his name.
Newman.
But even them, it just didn't look as natural as Bob Hoskins did in this film. Mm-hmm. So
Robert Zemeckis directed this movie, and he is basically known for always pushing the envelope, always trying new technologies and stuff. So from this to the mocap stuff he did for A Christmas Carol and Beowulf and Polar Express, to the new movie that just came out with Steve Carell and making the toys like...
Was that Zemeckis?
That's Zemeckis as well.
I didn't know
to
that.
the Wire. I'm kind of doing these all out of order, but he's always doing something with technology.
Yeah.
This absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Yes.
And it's an amazing, incredible looking movie with great performances. And
pretty intriguing whodunit kind of story too.
Absolutely, yeah. So they really, it's really well written. So as a crime story, it's actually interesting. And the judge, Christopher Lloyd, he, toward the end of this movie, he absolutely terrified me.
Yes.
As a kid, he was so frightening.
Yep.
He was up there with Jack Nicholson's Joker, and both of them just terrorized my nightmares. The thing about him, though, was his voice.
Yeah.
When he does that, he talks just like this, and his voice goes like higher and higher and higher. And the red eyes, it terrified. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it now because it was it's burned into my memory. But there are a lot of jokes in here that I never got as a kid. When I watched it recently, in the last few years, it just made me laugh more than when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, I liked the slapstick.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff in there. It's well written,
Very
as well
written,
and again, a great performance from Bob Hoskins. For anyone who's like hasn't seen this movie before, because I know I'm starting to work with people that I'm a decade older than.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about, comics, movies, video games, and stuff like that, and we realize that they grew up in a different age than we did. A decade's a long time.
Yeah, they
right?
just don't know anything.
They just they just don't know what's good for them. But if you haven't seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's just as good today as it was when it came out.
100%.
And it's completely unique. No other movie has done it this way. I think other movies have tried. None of them have been successful. Like Cool World, I think, was another attempt at this live action animated mix. Wasn't very good. This is really the ticket. This is it. I'm gonna throw an oldie, not an oldie, not much older than that one, but there's a movie called The Secret of Nim. It's directed by Don Bluth, and it's from 1982. And have you ever heard of this movie?
I've heard of it. I've never actually seen it.
It's
Probably because it was a secret.
Yeah, it's a well-kept secret in your case. Yeah, Don Bluth was, and I'm not really like a animation historian, but this is kind of the way I felt when I was growing up. Don Bluth was like the alternate to Disney for a long time. So Don Bluth did an American Tale,
Yeah.
Land Before Time, Secret of Nim, Feifel Goes West, and I think in the last movie I remember them doing, I think he did Anastasia as well. So he was this. I don't know if it's him, his studio, his style of animation. He was this alternate to Disney that was basically like really their only competition, to be honest. So The Secret of Nim is one of those movies that is really, it's about mice in a field that basically have to move, but there's some tragedy in there because it's a widow that's trying to take care of her family, her kids. And basically they're being evicted essentially because they're gonna plow the field. They're gonna clear the field. So this is really like almost like refugee type tragic what do you call it, struggle.
Yeah.
Here a lot along the same lines as An American Tale. I don't know if you've heard of American
I've
Tale.
seen American Tale.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I was watching this. This is actually kind of overwhelmed me. I was like, it's like kind of a sad movie, and I remember feeling a lot of that in the animation and in the characters and in the writing. It's one of those movies that plays well with adults because it carries themes that are a little bit heavier than the average kid is going to get. It also has a really dope owl in it. It's just like the designs of the animals in this, because there are rats and there are mice and there's this great owl in there. There's a scene where there's a giant, a spider that's way bigger than the mouse. She's crawling in, the spider comes in, and the owl steps on the spider, and it's all gooey, and it's just, the animation's so different than anything Disney would have done at the time. It really, stands out in my memory. So, the designs here, the animation, different than Disney, gave me something that I didn't even know I wanted at the time. So it's a movie that I can throw on and kind of watch. And that's some of the criteria here, is like a lot of these are my favorites, and I can tell they're my favorites because I'm able to throw them on and watch them.
Right.
Even now, and just like you were watching The Iron Giant the other day,
And crying.
like a baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Don Bluth, The Secret of Nim. Again,
What year did that come out?
that was 1982.
82.
Yeah.
Okay. This one blew me away when it came out because I was of that age where the show came out, and it was one of these things that I guess we weren't really allowed to watch because it was so edgy and cutting edge, and was South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
That's funny. That completely caught me off guard. I didn't expect that.
Dude, I love this film for so many reasons. The musical numbers in it blow me away every time.
Still sung today.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember distinctly getting out of that movie, first of all, thinking about how dirty of a person Saddam Hussein is. but like I was also singing Uncle Fucker the whole time.
That's right. It
like,
is a very, very catchy song. That's one.
Every song in it is catchy. Blame Canada.
Was Blame Canada in the movie?
Yep, Blame Canada was in the movie, which was later, I think, at an awards show sung by Robin Williams.
Oh really? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. They were
performing that because I think it was nominated for like best song.
Best song, Blame Canada.
Yeah,
they wouldn't nominate Uncle Fucker. That'd
but
be
like,
awkward.
it was a really cool thing to see, like a show that had become so popular and being given a film's budget and free reign to do whatever you want in a rated R comedy.
The funny thing about that movie was it looked exactly the same as the show.
Yeah.
Until the end, when I remember Cartman doing like a fireball like from like Street Fighter, and the camera like spins around him like was there a joke about all the budget going into that shot?
Oh, I can't remember.
There
was not in the show. No, or sorry, not in the movie, but.
Maybe in the trailer they made a joke about the budget, but yeah, the show the movie looked a lot like the show.
Oh yeah, it did. But I mean, they upped the ante everywhere else that wasn't just the animation of the characters. And to be honest, I didn't want to see anything different. Like in terms of the quality, South Park's niche is that animation style.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden you change that and just make everything a little bit more fluid, it kind of takes away from the important part. Maybe not important part, but like the style of the show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that they put more time and effort into into dreaming up what this movie's going to be about. This weird, like, apocalyptic thing.
Yeah.
It was such a wacky movie.
It was.
Saddam Hussein's fucking Satan. And it's just in a sex dungeon the whole time.
Oh, jeez.
It was.
I haven't seen the movie in a long time, and to be honest, South Park was something I watched every once in a while. But I did go to the theater to see that movie. And I remember the songs being really catchy, and I've seen it more than once when I was younger. But yeah, no, that caught me completely off guard.
You didn't see that coming.
I did not see that coming. I totally forgot. I forgot about that.
It's a sleeper. I was going through some of the movies I own, and when I saw that, I was like, God damn, yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing where it's like movies you own. Like, if there are any animated movies that I purchased. Yeah. Clearly, those are movies that, I like.
Exactly.
Like that was another... Because I was racking my brain for this list, I was like trying to remember. There's things that came to my head right away.
Yeah.
Then I had to I literally looked up like some lists and stuff. I'm like, I'm forgetting something.
Yeah.
And then I looked at my own collection. I'm like, oh yeah, that and that and that. And I totally forgot. So...
Right.
The next one is a Miyazaki film from Studio Ghibli called Princess Mononoke.
Okay.
I don't think you've seen that.
I haven't fucked with that yet.
1997. Do you know who Hayao Miyazaki is?
Yes. Yeah.
So he did like movies like Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle, I think is one of his as well. So he's made like classics and like Stone Cold classics. In terms of Stone Cold classics, I think a lot of people will talk about Spirited Away because I think that's really the one that transitioned to North America in a strong way, and a lot of people saw that in it. For me, it was Princess Mononoke, and Princess Mononoke was just, I think if you watch something like Spirited Away or some of his other movies, they're a little esoteric. Like the stories are like really weird, and it's hard to get a beat on the plot, and there's some thematic elements that are just really strange. You watch it a few times, maybe have a little toke of the smoke, and then watch it again, and it means something else, like that kind of thing. Princess Mononoke is a more traditional story, and it's more accessible, in my opinion. It's the first I ever saw. I watched the dub, like the English dub, and that's the dub of the movie I know.
Yeah.
So I know people think that's heresy, and like these days I would never watch an English dub of a Japanese or any other like a foreign language film. But back then I didn't think twice about it. I bought the DVD. I got it for my birthday, and I popped it in, and I'm like, it blew my mind. Just the animation blew my mind. I thought the voice acting was pretty good at the time, and the story, which is kind of like an environmentalist type story.
Yeah.
And there are some action scenes and action beats in here that are just fantastic. And Keith David does a voice. Keith David? Yeah, Keith David does a voice of a giant white boar in this movie, and it's kind of amazing. So it's, I don't want to go too much into the plot. You haven't seen it yet. I highly recommend you check it out, because it's a great way to experience a Miyazaki film that is a more traditional adventure epic adventure story. Not to say that his other movies are worse by any means. It's just that I like latching on to that plot, and this one has really really stuck with me. So yeah, Princess Mononoke, Hayao Miyazaki from 1997, up there.
I just realized I skipped one. I think it was because you took Iron Giant, but this one, I don't know if you'd have it on your list. If it's too, I don't know. We just saw it in the theaters. Transformers the movie.
Yeah, it's on my list.
It is on your
list.
list.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, I can't make this list without
putting that in there.
Yeah, Transformers the movie has a place on my list because if we're talking about criteria, and I'm talking about a movie I'll just throw on.
Yeah.
None of these movies on this list do I know every line of dialogue to. There is no movie on this list where I know absolutely every line of dialogue.
Yeah.
Except for Transformers the movie.
That's
every line of dialogue, every beat of music.
Yes.
I know it's Transformers the movie. There's no competition.
Right.
It's like every time we watch this fucking movie, we just get drunk and it's a sing along.
Yeah, it
That's
really
basically
is.
what
we're
this
saying line for line. We're like
and then we're
going
singing
back and
all the
forth.
songs too.
Yeah.
Like it's
comedy star. Or what did you say? Coronation star scream. Like it doesn't. You cannot get into this movie with us and not be able to like say word for word. If you are, you're just going to be listening to us go through the movie.
Yeah, and sing the songs. It's actually really horrific for anybody who's not like as drunk and obsessed with Transformers as we are.
Yeah,
but
being able to see it in the theater at 33 was pretty damn cool. Because they
cool.
basically, what was it?
I don't know what
something
anniversary it was, but this was just like maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
like
only
in October, November, and they re-released it into theaters. Oh, I think it was to promote Bumblebee, and it was also like the 40th. It was released 1986.
86, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so we saw it in theaters with a bunch of other Transformers, aficionados, and everyone was wearing shirts and. Were you wearing your Bad Comedy shirt?
Oh yeah.
The comedy night.
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
god.
Yeah.
It's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show for us.
For us, yeah.
Yeah, and my wife thinks it's hilarious because whenever we're like, hey, what do you want? We're just hanging out, like we're hanging out at Ajay's place, and like, what do you want to do? It's like, I don't know. We have a couple beers. It's like, you want to throw on Transformers? It's like, yeah, sure. Throw it on, and my wife's always like, oh my god, not again, not again.
And this is another one of the movies that I would say is like a guilty pleasure, only because like we watched this when we were growing up and like we know it as well as we do.
Yeah.
There's some really good aspects of the film, but then there's some really fucking bad ones.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where this is objectively not a good movie.
Right.
But I think it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing is we've got that. Who was it that whose wife walked out of it when we were watching it? She's like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen," or maybe she didn't walk out of it.
No. I was watching the movie, so I don't know who was leaving. I could have been in that theater by myself by the end of it. I wouldn't have known.
In any case,
but yeah, not a great movie, but just to see from the show again, we're talking about budget.
Yes,
like to see in the first 10 minutes. Like the amount improvement in the animation was insane.
Oh,
just
yeah.
to see
Leaps and bounds.
Optimus Prime the way he transforms for the first time.
Yeah.
And that You Got the Touch comes on. Oh man, like that is a moment. That's a huge moment.
Yeah.
Also, watching half the transform Autobots die.
Yeah.
In the first 10 minutes, it's like holy shit. How do you want to scar a bunch of kids? You kill a bunch of Autobots with a couple of shots for some reason. Now puts them down.
Yeah.
Right. And you kill Optimus Prime in the first 15 minutes of the movie. So it's like, whew, that's a lot to deal with as a kid.
It's a lot to deal with.
And so I think that's another reason why it sort of stays in our memory, because it was actually kind of scarring.
Traumatic?
Yeah, traumatic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My brother saw that, and Ajay saw that in the theater.
Yeah.
When it came out. I was too young. I don't think I ever saw it in the theater until a couple months ago.
Until a few months ago.
But yeah, so yeah, no, it's up there. Not a great movie. But still,
it's got to be on the list.
It's got to be on the list. There's no way. Orson Welles does a voice. He does the voice of Unicron.
I think it was his last performance.
Yeah. And apparently
he didn't like it.
He doesn't. He didn't like it. He just like didn't even remember doing it.
He's like it was some stupid toy thing. Yeah, or something along those lines.
That's right. He was probably just like drunk. And he was just like, whatever, come in, say a few lines. They put it in the movie.
I still don't know what the last thing that you...
The last thing Unicron...
And then all of a sudden he just explodes.
Yeah. The last thing Unicron says before he explodes at the end, he's a giant planet-sized transformer that eats other planets, and he explodes at the end. But he says like, "You, my," and it just explodes.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. You know what? Ajay would know what it is. What
He
the
probably
line is.
would.
We'd
always just turn on subtitles.
Yeah, I don't want to though. I like the fact that I like the idea that Orson Welles just got hammed every time he was going to record lines for this movie, and that's just him like after a couple of tequila shots, and nobody knows what he said. So anyway, Transformers the movie. If you haven't seen it, you probably have no reason to go see it.
But it's on our list. So fuck you.
It's on our list. Yeah. So
I'm sorry, I
Jesus,
didn't mean that.
Transformers the movie. Okay, so where am I going? I'm going to step into some Disney stuff in terms of like my favorite Disney movie. Mm-hmm. I have a couple. I definitely have a lot of favorite Disney. I wanted to pick one just to diversify here, because we did Iron Giant, Secret of NIMH. So now I'd step into Disney. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I absolutely love this movie. It's directed by two directors, Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise. No idea who those guys are, but they did a wonderful job. It came out in 1996, and the reason I love this movie because when I first saw it, I didn't understand that it was a famous story before I saw the Disney version.
Right.
The same thing with like Cinderella and Snow White. I didn't realize that was like literature that existed already. Those stories existed as fairy tales, and so The Hunchback of Notre Dame, my first exposure to this story was through the Disney movie.
Right.
And I loved it because, again, the horror aspects always appeal to me. Not that this movie has a lot of horror overtones, but there's an intensity to this movie that's not present in a lot of Disney movies. And that intensity comes in the form of two things. Judge Claude Frollo. Have you seen this movie?
It's been a while, but yeah.
So Judge Claude Frollo...
Good name.
Yeah. And he's terrifying in this movie, but he becomes obsessed with the gypsy woman Esmeralda.
Yeah.
But like sexually obsessed.
Yes.
And it's clear in the movie that he is at war with himself from a religious standpoint. And he has a song in that movie that I'll never forget. I think it's called Hellfire. And it's like, I was watching it and I'm like, oh my God, this is like intense. He's got her scarf and he's like sniffing her scarf because he's obsessed with her and he sees her dancing in the flames. But he's scolding himself because he knows as a
religious figure.
Religious figure, he can't have those types of feelings. So he's like at war with himself.
That's
and the
creepy.
song, it's so intense and operatic. It's a great song, and that's one thing that really stuck out to me. The other thing was the Hunchback himself is deformed, and they go the whole 9 yards with showing what happens to him when he goes out into the square and he gets whipped and he gets like stuff thrown at him and he falls in love with Esmeralda as well. And it's one of the only Disney films where the guy doesn't get the girl in the end. The Hunchback doesn't win the lady at the end of the movie. Another character does.
Right.
And when I walked out, I'm like, that's perfect, because it's like I feel like it's a slice of reality in this movie where it's like that doesn't have to happen in order for someone to be happy, right? And if someone's different, like that's okay. They don't need to end up with, the leading lady, right?
Right.
So it was kind of like it turned all of these tropes in these Disney animated movies on their heads.
So basically, Quasimodo's happy just ringing his own bell. If you catch my meaning.
Maybe, who knows? But
Climbing his bell tower, if you will.
Not to say he'll never end up with someone, but the idea that we don't. It's not a cliche. They don't just. They don't just cheap out at the end and have him, magically end up. She's like, oh, I love you, for who you are. And magically it just happens.
Right.
It doesn't. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a really great thing. And the whole thing about the monster and the man, lot of overtones of Frankenstein in here, and sorry, a small tangent. Frankenstein and the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Phantom of the Opera. All of these stories, these original stories, have these monster and man kind of connotations. Being different, is it bad? There's a sympathetic monster thing going on, and Universal, Phantom of the Opera, and with Lon Chaney, and I don't know who played the Hunchback. Was Lon Chaney the Hunchback as well? Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, those were two silent films that Universal built their monster empire on. Those were silent movies, big budget silent movies. So it's not, they're onto it. That story of like monster versus man, what makes a monster, what makes a man, is a strong theme. And for a Disney movie, this does that really well and plays it so that, you know, kids can kind of understand those themes. So this would be something I would show my kid, for example. In the songs are okay, the music's okay. There are 3 gargoyles in there that are there for like comic relief. They're probably the worst part of the movie.
Yeah.
The overall themes though are presented in a palatable way. They don't shy away from the major themes. Although the original story is much darker. But yeah, so that's my spiel on the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's kind of
Esmeralda sounds kind of shallow.
Why?
I don't know, just because she wouldn't, she wasn't.
Well, there's another guy that she falls for in the movie. Yeah, so it's like it's
What's
not
wrong
like
with the Hunchback? He was clearly putting in the effort.
He
had personality
was.
for days.
He did. He does.
Dedication. Come
Yeah,
on, that
yeah.
guy.
I mean,
who
he's-
wants to ring a church bell? Nobody. He did, and he was up there every day, ringing that bell.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the kind of dedication anybody would want in a relationship. And Esmeralda threw it away because why? He's got a little hump on his.
On his back.
Yeah.
What hump?
What hump?
Ringer.
I don't know. I think I just wanted my hero to get the girl, and clearly he didn't.
Yeah. Well, this movie's not for you.
Who voiced the guy that got the girl? It was.
It's Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline. Okay.
Who's really funny in this movie.
Oh, he's funny in everything. I love Kevin Kline.
I think he's great. He's great.
I wanted to throw forward Green Lantern First Flight.
Okay, not on my top list, but it's up there for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
So for me, being able to see, so a lot of times because I've got my Green Lantern ring and everything, people would ask why I like Green Lantern. I would point them to this film every single time because to me, this is the best depiction that we've had of Green Lantern in terms of the essence of the character, what makes you like him.
Yeah.
It's got all of the characteristics of the Hal Jordan character that you like. He's strong, confident, a little bit too gun-shy, doesn't really like authority.
Did you say gun-shy?
Sorry, not gun. The opposite of gun. Gung-ho, yeah. He's not shy. It captures all of the essence of the character that I truly enjoy about Green Lantern. And then you've got all of the like Sinestro as a villain slowly kind of unravels and you kind of start seeing his motivations and they're way more fleshed out than you've ever seen before in like the TV show, like the animated series, or obviously the Green Lantern film.
Yep.
You see a good evolution of the character as a villain. It's really interesting to me.
The voice acting on both of them is wonderful. Christopher Maloney does Hal, Green Lantern, and oh boy, fuck, I had his name and I lost it. Victor Garber.
Victor Garber
does the voice of Sinestro. Who he's if you saw his face, he's Professor Stein. In, The Flash.
Yep.
But he's in a lot of other movies and TV shows and stuff. He does an amazing Sinestro in this movie. And I think that's really the shining thing. Because they, like you said, just to reiterate, the characters are done really well. Sinestro, in a short movie, this was like a 77-minute movie.
Yeah.
They do that arc justice. And they're very clever about the plot mechanics. And it's kind of, they take the buddy cop approach.
Yes.
And that works so well. The other approach is kind of like the Star Wars sort of, cosmic thing going on, but they decided to say, okay, we're going to do the buddy cop, lethal weapon, bad boys kind of thing going on rather than, the Star Wars-ish sort of cosmic stuff. And they really do nail it. And you don't need to know anything about Green Lantern to watch this movie.
No, it's a complete introduction film.
Yeah.
It doesn't go too much into the character's origin. It kind of starts right where you need it to start for the Green Lantern character. The colors of the film, the look of the film,
it's a
so
gorgeous
crisp.
movie.
It's such a good, especially if you catch it on Blu-ray, like everything's just so nice and crisp. It's such a good looking film. And it's just really rewarding, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
Fully powered up Hal is
Yeah.
it's just got this like, everything's so doom and gloom, and then all of a sudden there's this shining light.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Fuck.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so that's why it's on my list. Is if nothing else, anybody that doesn't really know or understand why I would like the Green Lantern character, that film really portrays everything about the character that I think it should. And after I saw the live action one, I'm pretty sure I texted you or emailed you.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just remake this film?
yeah, they could have. They could have.
You had an amazing film there. Just
That's
flesh it out a little bit more if you have to.
Yeah.
But it's there. That's
Yeah.
the film. That's your Green Lantern film.
I like this movie a lot because right at the beginning they do Hal's origin as Green Lantern immediately.
Yes.
There's no long drawn out anything. It's like you're on Earth for 5 minutes and it's off to space with you.
Exactly.
And that's it. And it's really creative in that way. So absolutely liked it. And again, I'm going to say this for everyone. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like Transformers, the movie, you don't have to go see that. Don't worry about that. In fact, if you really want to see it, we'll invite you over to our house. We'll all get drunk and you'll see it the way you're supposed to see it.
Yeah.
Right? But Green Lantern First Flight, definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it. To continue this trend, I have one DC movie on here as well. I have a lot of movies that I really like from them, and I had to choose one. Batman Under the Red Hood. Mm-hmm. And this movie came out, so that was 2009. Green Lantern First Flight was 2009. Under the Red Hood was 2010. It's 75 minutes long, but I think it is I like this movie a lot. It's the perfect Batman movie for me, more so than Mask of the Phantasm, because this deals with a period of time in the Batman sort of mythos where he loses someone. Like Death in the Family was it's a strong analysis of Batman as a character, something that hasn't really been captured on film before. Right. And this particular story is so well voice acted. Like Jensen Ackles plays the Red Hood, and Bruce Greenwood is Batman, and they absolutely nail it. And sorry, I didn't even mention John DiMaggio, is the Joker, and he's fantastic. Yeah. I think he's up there. Like, I mean, Hamill's like Joker royalty when it comes to voices, but John DiMaggio is up there for me. His Joker is fantastic. It's this really deep, husky sort of Joker. Yeah. He's like beefy in that movie. He's a little more intimidating. Yeah. Right? And and the story really does call for it. So, and it's a great analysis of what the loss. Essentially, I mean, I'm not really ruining anything. Robin is essentially the Joker kills Robin. Yes. And it's about the fallout of that, and it's extreme, and the hand-to-hand combat. So I was talking about the plot, the characters, all top notch. The animation, hand-to-hand combat is all so it's so intricate and well animated. It's really like watching a live action martial arts fight where everything is you can tell they storyboarded the crap out of those fight scenes. Really, really well done. The last thing I'll say about it is that it is one of the best endings to any animated movie I've ever seen. That ending where they're all kind of at this kind of like Mexican standoff in the house, and the dialogue in that ending, and it's fantastic. I feel like that ending has never been topped in terms of like animated movies before. That thing had me in its palm, in the palm of their hand at the end. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Batman Under the Red Hood from DC. What do they call it? DC Animated Universe? Whatever. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that movie?
You pretty much said all of it. I think my favorite scene of it was the Joker being broken out.
Oh God! That's
and in the interrogation room, I don't even want to say what it is. It's just such a good, shocking scene. It's just like, oh God! All right,
you're
that's
absolutely
the movie I'm signing up for.
And
I think Neil Patrick Harris also voiced Nightwing in this.
Yeah,
didn't he?
Neil Patrick Harris does the voice of Nightwing, and Black Mask's reaction in that. Is great. Actually, this just makes me want to like everything we're talking about here makes me want to watch all of these movies again. But yeah, so that's
and it's only 75 minutes. I always thought it was a little longer. It felt longer, but like not in a bad way.
But yeah, no, I mean, like with these movies again, with First Flight and this, like they really like trimmed it down and they put in the most important stuff in those movies, and I feel like that kind of pressure really forces you to make choices about what you're going to keep in and keep out. So the pacing here is like brisk. So what else you got?
Throw this one out because it's probably a little controversial. Is the Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker? That's a weird one.
It is a weird one.
And the only reason I bring it up is because the movie itself's pretty good. It's a nice revisit to the Beyond universe because I thoroughly enjoyed that effort that they put out for that, you know, during that time. It was just at the end of the I think Justice League might have still been going on then. But, or maybe it was before that. In any case, but the one thing in that film that I continually revisit is the flashback sequence there. You can clearly see I like flashback.
Yeah.
But the flashback sequence to when Robin is abducted, basically it goes over the entire reason that they know that the Joker's no longer a threat or should no longer be a threat at that point. That is, it's got so many crazy elements to it. It's got serious stakes because the Joker in this flashback has clearly done something that he's never done before. He's crossed a line to the point where Batman actually tries to kill him, or it seems like he does. He throws a fucking knife at him.
Yeah.
Before
does he?
Yes.
I thought he gets stabbed in the leg with a knife.
He does, but he throws a knife at him.
Oh,
Batman
really?
tries. In my opinion, it looks like he tries to kill the Joker.
Yeah.
But in any case, there's a lot of different. There's a horror aspect to it when he does the reveal of what he did to Tim Drake. And then the seeing the trauma at the end of it. There's just so many different levels that they go through in this like 10-minute flashback.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then the whodunit aspect of the film is kind of a weird cop out at the end to some degree where they go with it.
It's a little janky. That's kind of where it lost me a little bit. Although I agree with the flashback, but it kind of lost me
at that,
like when all is revealed, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one to go for, but at the end of the day, seeing Hamill in that universe, hearing him, I guess, but seeing the Joker in that universe, it actually fit pretty well. And they're in this futuristic time where they could justify having something like that. And actually, in the Justice League TV show, they actually reference that. The nanotech that they use.
Oh, yeah.
They reference it directly in a flashback episode again, me with the fucking flashbacks,
Holy shit,
for Batman Beyond. They had an episode called Epilogue.
That was the end of the series.
It was supposed to be, but it wasn't. There was another season after that.
No, that was the end.
Nope.
With Waller?
Yeah, that wasn't the end. That wasn't the end. Then they had the series after that where Darkseid comes back.
What?
Yes.
You're wrong, sir.
I am absolutely not. You can look it up.
God.
Guaranteed. They had anticipated that they wanted it to be the end, which is why they ended the series they ended that episode with Batman Beyond flying through exactly the same way that Man-Bat was flying in the very first episode of Batman the Animated Series. They wanted to end it. They kind of wanted to bookend it like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but because they ended up doing it for another season, their thing that they ended it on was all of the Justice League guys running down a staircase. And then Batman's the last one, and you see the bat symbol on his chest be the thing. But yeah, it's definitely not the last episode of the series. So anyways, that's why I wanted to throw this weird one out there, because I don't know, I didn't think this would even slightly be on your radar. And it's a fun one for me. Like I revisit that one a lot.
Interesting. I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember I have 2 cuts of that movie. I own a DVD for the original, and then I own the widescreen director's cut, which is an R rated. Is it R? It's not R.
It's not R, but
it's
that's the one to watch.
Yeah,
that's the one to watch.
Sure.
Don't watch the other one because that one's garbage.
Yeah, that one. I mean, that one still sort of struck me as being intense, but the original ending makes way more. Sorry, the original. It's all in the flashback.
It's pretty much all in the flashback,
and that makes way more sense than what they portray. So yeah, I mean, it's a little janky for me. I can see why it's on your list. But I think it shares a lot in common with Under the Red Hood, because they both deal with the trauma of a Robin, essentially. Yeah. Right. So yeah, this movie I'll throw on whenever, because I think it always makes me laugh. It's Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Okay, it's the first modern animated Scooby-Doo movie. It's a direct-to-video movie, but here's the thing: the animation is top notch. First of all. And the story it's really well written, and the stakes are real in this story. Like there's with the gang, the show always did the same thing over and over and over again. This movie breaks the mold and does a lot of different things and makes fun of a lot of those tropes from the older TV show.
Right.
But this is the best version of Scooby-Doo you could ever watch. Not the movies that came out, not even like the older animated movies, like the Hanna-Barbera, like older like 70s animated movies or whatever. This is the best version of Scooby-Doo that you'll see. They basically go to New Orleans and they go to the bayou and they go to this mansion and they're trying to like figure out what's going on with these ghosts that are haunting this mansion. But there's a lot of culture there because they have like the music is like authentic and the food they're eating. Every time I watch this movie, I get hungry because Scooby and Shaggy are always eating and they eat these hot peppers and it always gets me every time. I'm like, fuck, I need to go make something to eat every single time without fail. And the animation is top notch. The music's great. And again, they basically make fun of all of those tropes, and things aren't what they seem, but in the most surprising way. It's not your average Scooby-Doo story.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll really say about it, because it is kind of, there is a surprising, there is a third act unveiling that's just like, right? It just makes me laugh, makes me happy to watch Scooby-Doo in this particular movie. It's really, really great. Gotcha. So, so 77 minutes from 1998.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the one I'll finish on is Akira.
Okay.
Have you seen that? Been a while?
So, I watched it. I fell asleep.
It's a pretty heavy movie.
I woke up, and there was a kid with a giant brain moving stuff. And I was like, I think I missed something. That is my exposure to this movie.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into it too much. I mean, Akira is an animation classic. I think it came out in 1988. Mm-hmm. And it was a very high budget film for its time. I think it was like a $9 million budget at the time. Yeah, like which is at that time for a manga animated film, I think it was really expensive. Mm-hmm. But in any case, you can see like there's a lot of influences that other films in the future have taken from that film. Some of the ways that they do, so obviously there's the kid with the brain that's moving things around. Yeah. This kid is telekinetic, or basically demonstrates telekinetic-like powers, and is flying around, and at some point is like being able to. It's not energy blast, but in any case, some of the stuff that they're doing in this film, you see being done now in other media. Right. It might be animated, it might be even live action. There's stuff that they do. Like there's definitely components of like the Matrix and the way that this kid flies around that I would rip directly out of Akira.
Yeah, I remember hearing a lot of Akira like references in like documentaries maybe I was watching about the Matrix, and I think the Wachowskis they referenced it like straight out.
Did they?
I think and if not them, then everybody who saw it, I think obviously pieced together that Akira was a massive like influence on their visual style.
And I think it's influenced. Yeah, it's had an influence on the entire genre of those types of futuristic, stylized action films. Science fiction films. It just blew me away when I watched it. I actually just rewatched it recently, and it still looks just as good. The animation's smooth. The special effects within the animation, so like all of the like. The environment's breaking, and then not particles, but like the way that they do the little things, not just the character animation. It's top notch. It looks so good. Yeah, and it's very imaginative. Mm-hmm. It's really, really incredible.
Yeah, I actually, now that you said that, I actually will add that to my watch list because I think I should see it.
Without falling asleep.
Yeah, without. I won't. Yeah, no, I was, and this wasn't even. It wasn't recent. This was a long time ago, and I just tried to watch it. It was a classic movie even when I tried to watch it, and it was the wrong time, and maybe it just didn't speak to me at the time. But it's been a long time since then. I'm definitely gonna throw it on. I'll probably appreciate it a lot more now.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think that when I watched it originally, I didn't nearly appreciate it as much as I did when I watched it when I was older. Yeah. And know a little bit more about cinema and see the influences of that film on other films.
Right.
It's something. I mean, it's a lot. It's a heavy film, so especially if you're watching because I've never watched the English dub, actually. I've only watched the subtitles. Yeah. And it's pretty intense. Yeah.
I'm going to list out all the other movies that are on my list and just kind of like breeze through them. Just be like, here's what else is there. The other stuff that I had was Rango. I really love that movie by Gore Verbinski. And Industrial Light and Magic's like first animated foray. That was I think their first and only animated movie. Beautiful looking movie. Legend of the Guardians, which is the Owls of Gaul. I love that movie. I own it. I own both of those, and I watched that one because that's a great demo for your home theater. Zack Snyder movie. I think it's his best movie. Nobody really talks about it. The other ones are two other Disney movies, The Sword and the Stone and The Great Mouse Detective. Older Disney movies that I grew up with. A style of animation you don't really see nowadays. Mm-hmm. And the other one I have is another stop motion animated movie called The Pirates, An Adventure with Scientists. That's what it's called. If you haven't seen this movie, makes me consistent. I was howling throughout this entire movie. And it's by the studio called the Aardman Studio, who did like Wallace and Gromit. They also, Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit is another movie. Great stop motion animation studio. And the last one is Monster House, which was produced by Robert Zemeckis using some of his motion capture stuff.
Yeah.
But it's directed by a guy named Gil Kenan. And it's a great Halloween, again, another coming-of-age story, Halloween set. Also a really good children's horror movie. So
nice.
That's the rest of mine.
The last ones I had on here for me was Toy Story, obviously broke the mold, being the first major CG animated film.
That's true.
And Tom Hanks is the best.
Yeah. I mean...
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, but I'm the Tim the Toolman Taylor kind of guy. So I mean, I'm a Buzz Lightyear man.
You are light years away from being correct, sir.
That was good.
Thanks.
That's well done.
Aladdin, all day, every day. That was the first film that really put big names into animated films. Like Robin Williams was where that started, and that was actually a Katzenberg idea, which is essentially where now you're casting everybody, every single person in an animated film is a voice.
Yeah.
The Jungle Book, that was probably the original, the 1968, I think it was.
I thought there's another animated.
That I'm pretty sure was probably one of the, if not the first animated film I ever watched. And it's, to me, the camaraderie between all the characters, the family aspect is so important. It's just that at the very end, Mowgli's like, "Ooh, she's hot. Peace out, bitches." And then he's
that's
out.
right. So basically, like all friendships.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the last thing I was going to throw in was The Dark Knight Returns, because that to me is the best interpretation that I've seen of a comic book to being put into an animated film and being actually potentially better than the source material.
Yeah, that was very good. Peter Weller's Batman is spot on, so good. But I thought the Joker interpretation of the voice was very weak. Did not like it. But Peter Weller's Batman was spot on.
Yeah, 100%.
Great animation in that too. Really, they spared no expense.
No, they didn't.
But you were talking about Toy Story.
Yes.
You'd think I'd like Toy Story a little bit more. I don't really like that series of movies. It's not that I don't like it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I saw 2, but I never saw 3. And I've only seen Toy Story 1 and 2 like once.
2 wasn't very good. I didn't like 2. People do.
I did.
3 was okay. But the first one was like that. Yeah. That was like that's what brought it on the scene for me. It was just like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like I still get nostalgic feelings when I watch that first one. The second and third ones, they're good films. They're okay. But like that first one just has a really strong feeling with me because I just remember being so in awe of the film when I was watching it that I still have strong feelings today about it.
So interesting list. I'm really happy that it wasn't really like all centered. It kind of ran the gamut.
It was specific to us, right? Like that's why like I knew Batman Beyond was not going to be on probably anybody's list, but that's for me that there's certain reasons for that, and I think that's important to point out. So listen to this. If you've listened to this, hopefully you've picked up a few movies that you haven't seen and you want to see, or maybe ones that you have seen and you'd love to revisit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Akira is definitely on my list now. I'm gonna add that to my watch list and check it out. So
nice.
Cool. All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. This is Atul.
This is Justin. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Ciao.
Drums.